If your BMW came with this tiny screen, or even with the upgraded screen, you would like additional real estate for things like maps, but you also want compatibility with things like Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, here's the best way to do it without breaking the bank. Start by disconnecting the battery and make sure not to close the trunk until the very end. For good measure, you can also block off the latch with a towel. From inside, remove the air vent with the trim tool and be mindful of the two connections as you're pulling it out. The square connection has a locking tab at the bottom that needs to be pressed in as it's pulled out, while the thinner one does not. With that out, we have access to the T20s holding in the climate control unit and screen. Carefully tilt out the climate control unit and disconnect the wire on your right side. Next, lay down some microfiber towels to protect your trim and shifter, because we're only going to partially disconnect the head unit once its T20s are removed. The connection that will be removed has this hinge mechanism that needs to be pinched together as it's swung down to release it. If you have an upgraded screen as well, disconnect the other side that has a similar mechanism. Some models may also have a fiber optic cable located here on the OEM harness. Just use a pick tool to carefully lift up the locking mechanism so it can come out. Before lifting up the screen, ensure enough slack is in the wires leading up to it so it doesn't get caught up as it's spun around, especially with the OEM cable that's about $80 on its own to replace. Upgraded screens will need a pick to remove the center connections, while the GPS can be removed by hand, just like the OEM LVDS cable, which is the only cable that stays in place. All others will be removed as the new screen has its own hardware that we'll use. Even if you consider yourself a beginner, by now you should be 15 to 30 minutes in, with the entire install taking no more than 2 hours, even with the coding session at the end. Here you can really see the difference between all three screen sizes. And just like the previous screen, the new 12.3-inch screen has 3 center connections, with the top being the main port, the smallest for the USBs, and the middle for the extra accessories like a 360 camera. Although I won't be installing it to save space, the wires are included with the kit. Of course, we also have the LVDS connection, as well as the GPS, and on this unit we even have 4G capabilities. So just ensure your box has everything from the screen, bracket, bypass harness, USB cables, aux cable, GPS antenna, and 4G antenna. Even with these extra pieces, everything will fit easily, starting with our GPS and 4G antennas. Drop the actual antennas into the area below the head unit and route their wires to where the screen will be. With them routed, ensure they'll have enough slack once the head unit goes back in. Then pull out the lower trim and unseat the light by disengaging the locking tab. Now test fit your antennas and roll the slack from the cables. Here I just used some alcohol to clean the area before sticking on each antenna. I found the rear section has the most surface area for the double-sided tape to stick to, but depending on your head unit, you may need to find another spot for the GPS antenna. If you prefer to run them to the rear or front windshield for better signal, you can, but I found no issues placing them here on any of the cars I've previously reviewed. And with the slack tied up, you can see that they're nicely tucked away. With both of those in, we can reconnect the light to the lower trim and press it back in before pulling out the head unit again. Next up is the USB cables that will only route through the top half and behind the vents. Unless you know exactly what you want to use these for, placing them here will give you easy access in the future and less hassle if you want to switch out the connected devices. Lastly is the main bypass harness, which you'll want to connect the fiber optic cable to if you have it, as this cable must always plug directly into the head unit. Now you can press the bypass harness into the head unit, which should do so smoothly, especially as the lever locks in. If there's too much resistance, try realigning it, and this is the same case for the opposite end that plugs into the factory wiring. Underneath the armrest is where the aux cable will go. I ran it underneath the tray, down along the passenger side, and back up to the harness where it will plug into the audio out port from the bypass harness. Once everything is connected, tuck it in, and let's move on to the top where we need to place in the screen mount that should snap right in. If it's not fully seated, that's okay. Once it gets screwed in, it will get pulled down into the dash for a secure fit. If you also wish to place in a SD card or SIM card, now's the best time. To protect the screen, let's lay down a microfiber cloth, and first we'll plug in the LVDS cable since it's the hardest to get in and has the least amount of slack. Next is the 4G antenna since it spins on. If you want, you can also cinch it down with an 8mm wrench. The GPS antenna should pop right in. Then the two smaller center connections go in. followed by the big center cable that goes in last. With all that connected, align the 4 rear tabs of the screen to the 4 cutouts of the mount as you spin around the screen. As you do this, also pull out the wire slack from below until the screen is properly seated. You should also hear it snap into place, indicating it's fully secured. Time for a test run. Reconnect the battery and turn on the car. If it looks messed up like this, that's fine. We'll code it in later. As long as there's a connection to the screen, we're good. Disconnect the battery again, and now we can tuck in the wires behind the head unit and screw it in. No need to force anything. If the head unit won't slide in all the way, try pushing the bulky connection down and out of the way. The last 2 trims should be a breeze. The climate control panel with its 1 connection pops in at the bottom, then the 2 T20s at the top, followed by the air vent that has 2 connections. Just be mindful as you pop it in, since this screen sits right below the vent trim, unlike the 2 other screens, which will help with map visibility and touch controls. Time to code in the screen. Reconnect the battery and hook it up to a tender. To program it, we'll be using Bimmer code, which you'll need an OBD2 Bluetooth adapter. Inside the app, select your adapter, followed by your car. On the landing page, hit head unit, and in the top corner, toggle over to expert mode. There are 2 codes in the 2 series that need to be changed. First is inside 3000 HMI, where we need to go into display size resolution and select 10.25 1600 by 600. Second is inside 3001 Xbox. Find display variant and select Bretez display. I already have these coded on the car from the previous screen, so the code button didn't pop up here. Otherwise I would have, and the car would have gone through the coding process. Afterwards, we need to change the setting on the actual screen, which you can do by holding down the menu button or touching the screen. Then go into settings. Sometimes you have to go into factory settings afterwards, but the password for this screen as well as the others is going to be 2018. Go to vehicle display and select the biggest screen size for your specific iDrive version, in this case the 8.8 or 10.25 NBT. The other thing to check is the CAN protocol. Ensure it's selected for the appropriate iDrive software that came originally on your car. Then you can go back into the OEM protocol and everything should work as before. If there's some intermittent issues with the reverse parking guidelines or the iDrive knob that you're experiencing, this should have cleared it all up, or at the very most after a drive or 2 once this coding session is completed. But now the screen is fully coded and integrated into the car. So much so that you can activate the Maps app from the steering wheel and iDrive button. And to see how to access all the capabilities and settings of your new screen, check out this video, and I'll see you in that one.